Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And I've literally just parked the car at the roadside here beside the ferocious River Isla. And in like the area of Scotland I live, it's basically been raining now for like days on end, and it's been extreme storms. So today I've come into this autumn wonderland to document the ferocious power of the Reekie Linn waterfall. And it's been a while since I've come to this location. It used to be one of my favourite places to come, but because the weather's been so bad, like last weekend and the weekend before it, the roads was so flooded out that I live too far away from here to even get to it. So today I've made a special adventure to come here and see the waterfall. Look, there's two deer. It probably doesn't even come out on the camera. Two deer just running through the forest there. Wow, the River Isla has been so ferocious this past few weeks. Every river in Scotland, the River South Esk, the River North Esk, they're all rivers that's been affected recently. But today's adventure here, we're documenting the River Isla and the Reekie Linn waterfall. It's honestly one of the craziest waterfalls in Scotland, and it's probably one of the biggest. As far as like the magnitude of the water and the way it goes over the side of the waterfall, it's just absolutely crazy. Check this out, it's like kind of long grass conditions I'm heading through here. So I was going to put on the wellies for this adventure, but then I just decided last minute I'll put the boots on. But I don't know if that's a good decision yet or not. Hopefully I'm not going to be going into any like deep water. We're playing it safe here because the rivers, when it's like a storm, are super dangerous. The power of the water is just mad. But another thing you have to watch out for on a day like this at the waterfall is like there can be a crazy like tree or whatever just coming down the river, and like if you're next to the waterfall it could push you over the side. I was just looking over as I was speaking there at this ferocious little stream. It looks so flooded out. I have to try and make my way across here. I'm going to record this, folks, because I might actually slip at this point down this hill. Wow, it's so slippy at that point. I'm going to try this secondary route right here. Wow, I'm keeping the camera rolling for this one. It's the real wild lands of Scotland that we're in right here. And sometimes you have to go crazy places to see the coolest things. There is a proper footpath like at the other side of the river here, but it's better to view the waterfall from this side. And also there's an interesting bit of abandoned history at this side as well. It has featured in some of my YouTube shorts recently. I started doing the YouTube shorts on the channel, like the wee short videos, and that's like a throwback to previous adventures and previous places that I go. So if you ever see like a YouTube short on the channel, there's a whole video adventure to go along with that. And there should be a link in the corner of the YouTube short that takes you directly to the original video. So that's a cool way of getting that extra connection with the channel as well. But when I come on adventures like this, I'm always blown away by the fierceness of the nature, the roar of the river. Look at this here, folks, for a forest scene. Look at this wee burn. So the reason I've put this thick coat on once again is because the rain's never stopped. If I just had my normal coat on, I would end up being absolutely soaking in these conditions. Sometimes it's fine in the storm just to make sure you keep dry. The temperature today is probably like 8 degrees Celsius, which is quite a mild air temperature here. Oh, look at this. This is the route I'm going to take down here. Check this out, folks, for a paradise scene, an almost Jurassic-like landscape here. Look at the way the moss and the trees, it's all just over the top. This mad bedrock seams here. Look at this, the way the water's running out of this rock here. And I can hear the mad roar from the Reekie Linn. It's called the Reekie Linn because reek is the Scottish word for smoke. And you can see from the waterfall, once we get around this corner, it creates a smoky like mist in the air, giving it the name. Check this out, the way this landscape is. Wow. So cool on these videos. I can share mad bits of landscape like this with people all over the world. Ken, there's little corners of Scotland that's like hardly seen, hardly documented, and little areas like this, it's just the wildest of nature at its finest. You can hear the roar from the waterfall. Wow, we're right at the top of the waterfall. I say wow a lot of my videos, folks, but it's because when you're right in the moment in a place like this, it's just insane scenes. Yeah, this is crazy, folks. This has been an old generator shed at the top of this hill here, I believe, from the olden days, probably early 1900s. But I've just noticed this electrical system here used to sit within this building. So I'm not sure if it's been ripped out or torn out, or I don't know if it's been vandalised and thrown down here. But that is a piece of history right there, folks. Look at the two old wires. The old ceramic fuse holders right there. See, an interesting thing, I believe this is a backup generator for an electrical turbine. This pipe here, which we can see underfoot, leading under the ground, leads to a secondary building at the top of the cliff, which would have been like a water turbine shed for generating electricity, probably for a big house in this nearby area or a farm. And then if that wasn't getting enough water to supply the energy, that's why they would need this secondary backup generator shed. So it's interesting to see that history. Look at the ferociousness of this right here. It's cool to document the history as we pass by these locations often and tell the story of the history. And look at that, there's the generator plinth on the floor right there. Okay, so you can imagine there would have been a little engine and then a little generator probably. And the first time I came here, the electrical box which lies on the ground outside was mounted here. You can see the lintel stones shifting and moving. Every year these places decay and degrade more and more. Look at this, the wee window looking out here. There was probably a little proper window in here with glass at one time. Anyway, let's keep this adventure moving. It is crazy, folks, because the noise from that water, it's almost like when you're beside a subwoofer. But I think it's because when the water drops, now and again it'll be creating a pocket of air pressure. Wow, this is insane. I'm just going to keep drying the lens during this adventure, folks. I could literally see I need to clean the lens. Check it out, folks. Normally on a nice summer's day I would be walking down there, but today I'm keeping it super safe. Look at this, there used to be an old ladder and stuff there, and that tree has now fallen into the hollow. But look at this, another crazy detail. This has all recently been freshly washed away. This is all the stonework which was built back at the time of the old generator. And that's literally the generator shed there on the edge of the cliff. Wow. See, when you explore places like this, it's important to keep it totally safe. Yeah, look at it, folks. This is the sort of area, if a tree came around the river right now, this is what I'm saying, it could come up onto this piece of rock. That's why I need to be super vigilant here. Wow. This is just absolutely insane, folks. Once again on the channel, we're in the middle of a wild paradise. And just look at that. This is why it's named Reekie Linn. And this is like 100 foot, 120 foot drop right here, solid cliff. And the interesting thing with the Reekie Linn waterfall, it actually drops twice. It drops in here at a funny angle, and then it drops there straight down. That's where the most pressure is in the water. You can see it often coming straight up in the air. And then that creates this incredible wet environment with the moss and all the high cliffs at each side. These cliffs most likely carved from this river over the years. Anyway, I'm going to move off this pinnacle of land, folks. See, this is an interesting piece here. I'm going to be so careful. But there's actually a little tunnel down there with an old metal ladder. And the pathway used to take you along to this area here. And that's the little turbine shed, which I have been into in previous videos, but on a day like today, it's just too dangerous. You can get landslides and rock movements on days like this, and that's the reason you can see this tree here broke free last year in the storms. And you can just imagine the height of the river when it must have been like 2 meters higher. The water's been coming right over this area and then taking away this ancient history. That's the thing in Scotland, the wild nature itself often deletes abandoned history with its force. See, we're right above what is like a little tunnel, but it doesn't go in far. It must have just been where they had cables and things run up from the generator to this room here, which may have been like a bit of a control room as well as a generator shed back in the day. But back at that time, I'm not sure if originally when the river was high it would have run through this section out there, and the Victorians back at that time have now built this wall as a river defence to change the flow of the water down that one way when it's at that extreme height. But obviously so many years has passed with no maintenance. This defence here of the river has now been breached, because it's probably only that height maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But the reason they had built it at that time was to defend their turbine shed. And the reason the turbine shed's so near the cliff is so they got the maximum velocity of their turbine for the length of the pipe they had to this area. Anyway folks, let's head on. It's just so cool to come here and document this. It's super dangerous going down this way. I used to often go for a walk down, but when you can see the way the land's been subsiding, it's just crazy. So throughout this episode, folks, I just apologise for any water that ends up on the lens. Yeah, look at this here. There's the old turbine shed. Look at the waterfall from here, folks. Wow. See, this is crazy. I'm not going any further today, because if you slip literally right there, you're a goner. That's the edge of the cliff. But just check out the waterfall. Wow folks, always promise you the realest of adventures. Look at this, even right here, it's a proper like 25 foot drop. And the ground right now when it's saturated could give way, and I'm just keeping it safe. Yeah, this is insane. What a crazy adventure this has been. The River Isla. Like, the water's been right up at this height, folks, and it shows you. You can see how that grassy straw's left, and that would have been the edge of the water line. And I'm just thinking, maybe that metal electrical box there was washed out of that shed by the river. Look, there's proper big massive chunks of tree. And that's the sort of thing that gets deposited at the side of the river. Imagine that going up over the top with the force. It would just wipe you out if you were standing there. And probably There could be like 10 trees a day going flying over there. The scenes are just mind-blowing, folks. I just love adventures like this into the wildest of places. When you see little bits of history like this in the middle of it, it's just crazy to see like what they did back in the day for like getting electricity from the land basically for free, using the power of the river and the power of nature to gain their electricity. So now you see, folks, why it's called the Reekie Linn. The amount of reek coming off at the day is just incredible. Now I'm heading back out this incredible wonderland as well. It's just mind-blowing scenes. At times I believe the river may even flow down this passage. It's crazy to see the way the moss and ferns just cling on to the natural environment around here, which seems to be a rocky environment. The rocky seam, which over the years the river's just carved through, and it's just, that's why it's so wild. Like, nature itself's wild. This bedrock seam, it's just crazy how many thousands of years it would take to wear. Like, imagine the depth of that massive canyon right there. See, look, once again here, look, the river's been right up at this height, so it most likely was flowing in there to a certain degree. So I've just come a secondary route up there from the side of where I was at the river's edge, and there's this incredible waterfall I just noticed. I thought it's definitely worth chucking the camera back on, folks. But look, an interesting detail of history right here. Look, the edge of this burn's all been built properly with stones. Wow. And then look, this little waterfall. So it shows they've been properly controlling the water at one time before it released into that natural environment. And that's the burn I jumped over at the start of the video at the bottom of the hill there. So they've definitely been, there must be like the big house or landowner here that's been potentially who even owned that generator we looked at in the old shed. Here, look at this. Wow, folks, I've just noticed, this is crazy. Look, this wall here is properly constructed. Look how ancient that is. Dry stone construction right here. History that I never knew even existed. Absolutely mad scenes. This whole area here has been landscaped at a certain time. I'm just thinking what route to actually go to get back out of here. I might be able to jump over the top of this waterfall. Yeah, we're heading through some proper wild landscape right now. Oh, I can see that dry stone dike, look. It's been built on top of the natural bedrock, which is here. And you see the ancient dike on top, which is so cool. Just think about the builder of that wall, how long ago he was here. Think how many years that stood on top of that, like stony cliff. It's amazing how they even did that. They must have actually been at one time leveling the ground at the top. That'll be their edging wall, I believe. This is just insane scenes. I had no idea this whole burn had been landscaped like this at an ancient time. Whoa! My foot nearly slipped right there, folks. Whoa, another waterfall. This is so cool. Look, it's all built. This whole area. Yes, we've made it across. Wow, what a mad landscape we are in right now. I think I'll head back down this way. We'll just go down this opposite side of the burn. It almost looks like that burn has burst its banks and been flowing right over here. The weather's been so extreme in Scotland, I can't even exaggerate to you. Like, even the height of that little burn's been up here, because look how the grass is all flattened and it's all that one way. And that's from the high flow of water moving over it. And yeah, but in this area it's just been crazy storms. It's like mad trying to plan even a route to go somewhere simple. Look at this. Little fungus there chilling in the wood, folks. So I just want to thank everybody that's clicked subscribe on my videos in the recent while, and or ever again, because it's cool doing these adventures and sharing the wee bits of history I find along the way. And I do have some cool places that I'm wanting to go and explore, but I'm kind of limited for this mad storms. But that is in the pipeline soon, folks. We've got some World War II locations, things like that. But check out this, it's some old ceramic sink of some sort. Maybe out of an old building around here, or an old stable of some sort. I think there is a farm probably like a mile up that way. I'm just about to head through these thick trees right here. It's not actually too bad. Kind of put on the thick coat, but I think actually in hindsight I could have gotten away with just having the normal coat. There is a lot of trees here which keeps the worst of the rain off us. Right folks, that's me just about back at my car. So I'll end this one here in this autumn wonderland right here, where the leaves are just constantly blowing off the trees. Another couple of weeks all this will be gone, and it'll be a wintry looking land that we're exploring. Anyway, I'm ending this one here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with the next adventure, wherever I end up going.